Substantively, Lord Turnbull told us just last week that Robin Cook didn't agree with the notion that containment was finished. He also commented he thought Cook was right at that time. So there were differences of view on that single containment issue, as a viable policy.
Yes, I mean, Robin had ceased to be Foreign Secretary at that stage. At that stage, he was leader of the House and Jack Straw was then Foreign Secretary. I don't think anyone in those government positions at the time felt that containment was a viable way forward. We would really have lost the whole thing very shortly thereafter. Of course, people had different views about it.
But your personal view and advice to the Prime Minister was that containment was kind of a risky route.
I didn't actually address containment in the note that I did to him on that occasion. I was talking about how we could influence the Americans. Remember what our objective was with the Americans when we went to Crawford? We were trying to replicate what we had done after 9/11 on Afghanistan. We were trying to say to them, don't rush into anything. Move at a deliberate pace, and, above all, build a coalition. Talk to people, go the UN route. Don't just rush into unilateral action. We believe unilateral action would have been a terrible thing by America, and we wanted to try and put it in a much wider political context. That's what we went to Crawford to try to do and what we tried to do subsequently during that year.
Were they listening?
Yes, they were, I think it is fair to say, both at Crawford, and then, in July, when David Manning went there and there was a discussion of the thoughts the Prime Minister had sent to the President and a phone call with the President. In that phone call at the end of July, the President said, yes, he would give consideration to the UN route, and then, when he called us at the end of August, I think it was the 28th of August, he said, yes, he was up for the UN route and would go that way.
But the point really is it seems, or it is alleged, that we had given a kind of unconditional commitment that we would be with them regardless. Against that background, how is it feasible that they would actually pay much attention to those sort of conditions or the influence we were trying to exercise?
Yes, that's a misunderstanding that I noticed had been put to this committee a short while ago. I was at Crawford, David Manning was at Crawford, Christopher Meyer was not at Crawford. He was at Waco, about 30 miles away. The Prime Minister gave us an account of his conversation with the President the previous evening. We were there from the morning, and most of the discussion with the President then was on the Middle East, but they also recapped their discussion of Iraq. There was no undertaking in blood to go into war on Iraq. There was no firm decision to go on war. In fact, the record which was sent to Christopher Meyer of that meeting says Bush acknowledged the possibility that Saddam would allow inspectors in and let them go about that business. If that happened, we would have to adjust our approach accordingly. So it was absolutely clear we were not signing up for a war on this, we were signing up for going down the UN route and giving Saddam a chance to comply.
But military options were discussed.
I don't recall them getting into any sort of discussion of military options.